Welcome to the idtalks. idtalks is a series of 5 webinars every spring and autumn that is brought to you by Salto Inclusion and Diversity Resource Center. In the spring of 2025, the idtalks is partnering with Europe Goes Local, and we are looking into local municipal youth work practices and the link bridge between the local and European levels in line with the European youth work agenda. We have had so far already 4 very interesting talks, and today is the concluding talk of the series, and it will be about quality standards, quality label. For this, we are visiting our friends, our colleagues in Flanders, in Belgium, to discover how you can create a more systemic approach towards municipal youth work, what is quality youth work, and how can young people with fewer opportunities access and benefit from it. We will learn about the child-friendly city label of and the standards that are set by Battalion, and we will also have a very unique chance of looking into a municipal practice of the city of Kortrijk. And for this, today we are hosting here 2 speakers. Tieme Verlinde, who coordinates the board youth policy team of Battalion. He introduces the Flanders certification of youth-friendly cities, emphasizing the integration of children's rights into local youth policy with a 3-step toolkit that he will be introducing. And on the side of practice or implementers of this standard, we also are very, very happy to have here Hannes Vanmeenen. He is working in the city of Kortrijk for already 20 years and serving 20% of its young population, its population, young people under 20 years old. And he's also responsible for over 10 years now for the child-friendly city program in Kortrijk. So with this interesting combination of organization and municipality, we are very happy to start today's ID talk. Over to you, and we are starting, I think, with Tieme, please.
Hello and welcome everybody. Also from my side, my name is Tieme, as Anna introduced me, and together with Hannes from Kortrijk, I will speak about the certification, the child-friendly certification, that we have in Flanders for more than 10 years. I will speak about how it works on a Flemish level, and Hannes will tell the story of Kortrijk, one of the cities with this label certification. So who are we? I think we were introduced very well. So I will go to the next slide immediately. Bataillon, that's the organization I work for. Bataillon is an umbrella organization for cities and municipalities in Flanders and the Dutch-speaking part of Brussels, with more than 280 members. Almost all the cities and municipalities in Flanders are a member of Bataillon, and we are supporting them with training, publications, projects, events, and so on. We have a staff that consists of 24 persons. And we have 3 main target groups that you can see on the presentation. We are there for the youth councils, the youngsters who are active in youth councils. We are there for youth services from local municipalities, from the local governments, and we are there for the alderman of youth or the deputy mayor of youth. These are our 3 main target groups we are supporting. And one of the main projects of Bataillon is supporting this certification, child-friendly cities. And the sentence you can read is our mission. We go for a strong local child-friendly policy in which the children's rights are realized actually on a local level. So the certification, how does it work? Child friendliness in Flanders and the certification. Um, Important to know is that more than 10 years ago, it all started with two important moments. In 2013, the Flemish government gave some more autonomy to the local governments in Flanders regarding youth policy. So since then, there is more autonomy for local governments to make their own choices and selecting their own priorities. And the year after this, 2014, was the first time we had the certification of child-friendly cities in Flanders. It already existed in other countries in the world. It started with UNICEF International worldwide, but in Flanders it exists since 2014. So last year we had like the 10th year um, anniversary. And this means we have 10 years of or 11 years of growing expertise and working on this children's rights on a local level. Enthusiasm is also still growing year after year, still noticeable today. And of course, and that's very important for us, good practices are growing and the lessons learned are increasing actually every year. And our aim at as Bataillon is to get this shared to all the cities and municipalities in Flanders, but also uh, abroad. This is maybe the most important slide of my presentation. This is um, what it's all about. These are the 6 building blocks, as we call them, for child-friendly cities in Flanders. At this moment, at the right side of the presentation, you see some visuality of it. It's in Dutch, but I will translate them for you. Um, so if you, as a city or a municipality, if you want to putting children's rights into the center of your local government, you have to work on the 6 building blocks, and you you cannot just skip one or another building block. You have to work on every single one of them, um, and you have to have like a vision and a strategy to implement them in your local policy. um, I will explain them shortly, but if there are questions afterwards, we can talk about it, and Hannes will pick some of the building blocks that are linked most directly to inclusion and diversity, and explain about how Kortrijk works on these building blocks. So the first one is about diversity. Uh, a child-friendly city or municipality recognizes and gives space to diversity among children and young people, and diversity of the context in which they grow up. It's a very important building block, of course, in this diverse and super diverse reality we're living in today. The second one is about the vision of the local municipality, a vision on how to be young in the city or the municipality, and what it should be, being young, growing up in the local municipality. And the vision should be shared between politicians, civil servants, citizens. Actually, that should be the aim, that everybody can find itself in this vision, or recognizes itself in the vision. Um, the third building block is about having a permanent dialogue between the local government and the children and the young people who are living there or coming there or going to school or using services. Um, and Here, important here is that policymakers keep a finger on the pulse, because the target group of children and youngsters is very diverse and dynamic and changes so quick that that's the reason why it's like permanent, and you have to keep on putting attention to it, and the needs and the requirements of the children and youngsters is changing very quick. So that's the reason why you have to put attention on it every day. The fourth building block is about taking your direction role as a local government. And that's important because local governments have their responsibility and have authority in realizing children's rights. It's not only the Flemish level or the Federation of Belgium level, it's also the local governments who have to take their responsibility in realizing these rights. And but they don't do it on their own. They cooperate, of course, with citizens, civil society, and so on. The fifth building block is about basic services, for example, schools, childcare, hospitals, and so on, but also public spaces, safe roads, etc. And they should be high quality. There should be enough quantity, but also in a high quality. And the sixth one is about stimulating and facilitating solidarity and mutual involvement between children and youngsters, but actually for all the inhabitants of your uh, city or municipality, in favor of living together in a sustainable way. That's actually the goal. So these are the six building blocks for child-friendly cities. Um, Hannes will tell some more about how they work on it in Kortrijk. So some more words about certification. How does it work exactly, and from whom is it? It's for local governments in Flanders. They can get this certification. Who is involved? There is a jury who evaluates the candidacies of the cities and municipalities. The jury is like a pool of 15 persons who are looking to the candidacy of these local governments, and um, they are making uh, they are deciding if the city or the municipality can get the certification or not. There's also a steering committee that determines the procedures and the criteria for this certifications. The certification is handed out by the Minister of Youth, the Flemish Minister of Youth. And as Bataillon, we support the jury, the steering committee, and we support the local governments in running a process towards uh, uh, this certification, towards the application of getting the certification. That's how I should say it. Some of the main principles I already told them, or they passed already. So it's about assuring children's rights. What's also very important is that it's a learning process. You're never finished working on a child-friendly city. It's a work of every day, and um, you should learn from your process and be critical for your own policy as a local government. The building blocks from the slide before are the criteria to which the jury looks for your application of getting the certification. Also important is that the certification is for a period of 6 years. You can get a prolongation afterwards for another 6 years, but you have to come back to the jury and talk about the progress you made. And after 3 years, so in between the 6 years, you also have to come back to the jury, and that's kind of a quality control that is in this certification system. And the cities and municipalities, it's some extra work, but it helps doing the right things and in this learning process. Application is possible every 2 years, and it's not just a formality. There are cities and municipalities that are running a process towards candidacy, but are not getting the certification because of they are not getting the level the jury wants. Uh, there is a preliminary phase before applicating for the certification, and it takes more or less 2 years. In these 2 years, yeah, a low collaboration between many stakeholders is very important. It's about a qualitative and process-oriented approach. It's not so much about the numbers, but it's really about the quality. And as Bataillon, we are taking care of the continued support of cities and municipalities in this preliminary phase, but also after cities and municipalities get the certification, we're bringing them together. At the right side of the presentation, you see like a picture of an intervention in Kortrijk, where we were, I think, last year and visiting some projects in Kortrijk with these certified cities. This is a map of Flanders with some colors of the child-friendly cities that we have at this moment, or the certified child-friendly cities. There are 46 of them at the moment, and there are 285 cities and municipalities at this moment in Flanders. 5 are running a process and are trying to get the certification next year. Uh, but last year we had local elections, and there are like some, yeah, the local municipalities are making new plans for the coming period, the coming 6 years, and there is a lot of enthusiasm of running this process or getting the certification in the next 6 years for the other cities and municipalities. The last part of my presentation is about the toolkit. The toolkit is based on an international toolkit from UNICEF that we translated to the Flemish context. And the toolkit is like an assessment system in 3 steps. I will explain them in the next slides. And this is like our guidance for the preliminary phase for the process towards your application for the certification. There are 3 steps. Step 1 is investigating in uh, how child friendly is the city at this moment. Step 2 is investigating how children and youngsters experience the city. Step 3 is about how can the city become more child friendly. It's about writing a vision, strategy, actions, and so on. But we take our time for every step because of the second point there, creating a sure foundation. We really want politicians, civil servants um, from the different domains to really cooperate in this story. So this means that we take at least 6 months for every step. Um, there is a strategic platform, as we call them, with local civil servants and politicians that are like running the process and are discussing and making the decisions through the process in these different steps. Step 1: how child friendly is the city? It's investigating, and it's very broad. There are 10 teams that we are investigating that are linked to the living environment of children and young people. You can read them: housing, mobility, education, and so on. So for every team, we are looking how child friendly is the city at this point. And we have some instruments to do this, to support this. You can have like a data analysis. These here the numbers come or we are looking to the numbers, um, but also the qualitative policy and the indicators. For every team, we have some indicators. What are the plans? What are the actions and strategies the local municipality has on working on these teams? There is a survey based on the UNICEF survey, and for adults working for the local municipality, but also inhabitants. But also there are some control groups with children and youngsters, minus 12 and above 12 years old. And at the end of step one, we organize some focus groups with at least local governmental services, stakeholders, and youngsters. And afterwards, the local government selects some priorities on which they should focus in the next steps um, of their process. And the second step is by far the most interesting step, I think. It's investigating how children and youngsters experience the city. It's really a qualitative research. It's going out and going to the places children and youngsters are. It's a qualitative research on the priorities, and here it's very important that 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 the city, the municipality, uh, takes the scope of a diversity in profiles, a mix of age, sex, educational level, and so on, and taking and having respect for the intersections of children and youngsters. Um, and also a very important one is that it's not really about the opinions about what do you think of the city or something like that, but it's more about how do you experience the city, how do you experience moving in the city, going to school, taking the bus, and so on, and their perception, their interpretation. That's the start of this step. And of course, we're using child-friendly methods, that it's not a boring, maybe um, survey or something, but really game-based sometimes methods to talk to children and youngsters. The last step is about the vision on local child friendliness. It's writing it down. It's setting a strategy, um, talking about mandates who will implement this strategy. It's about budgets. It's about time that people get to realize this strategy, and it focuses on the long term for the next at least 6 years. The cities and municipalities are writing a strategy. So this is the preliminary phase. After this, you can applicate with the jury, and they are looking to your building blocks, as I presented before. But now I will stop sharing.
I will show you some the line timeline how we got the label. We started in 2012 with a local government policy. We have like legislations about 6 years. Every 6 years we have local elections. So we started in 2012. As Tieme said, in 2013 or 14 they started with the label, and Kortrijk was in 2016 in the second round of label candidates. We got the label for 6 years until 2022, and in 2022 we prolonged the label again for another 6 years. So now we have it until 2028. In between, you see also Kortrijk here. That's also in 2018 we got elections, and in that policy agreement we got more attention for children and youngsters, but I will show you in a second. Also important to say is that in Kortrijk we have like 4 we call it transversal programs. So it's not in one direction, it's actually spread in the whole organization. Poverty is one, children and youngsters are one, social inclusion is also one, and local climate policy is also one. And actually, that's also a framework that you can use or connect to the sustainable development goals. Here, some what Tieme already a little bit told you is the international context of the label. On the right side, you have the label and the local policy plan. At the left side, you have also very important the children's rights. How do you say it? Het verdrag. I don't know the exact word, but and this is what in 2018 the local politicians, it's actually the starting point. The first page of the policy agreement is, if you translate it, it's Kortrijk, the Kingdom of Children. So I will read it a little bit because it really says how we look at children and youngsters in Kortrijk. So we believe a city that is good for children is good for everyone. And looking at the city through eyes of children, it gives a fresh perspective. Then things like cleanness, healthy air, space to play, and room for imagination, safety and traffic safety just become more important. So that's the way the city wants to look at through the eyes of children and youngsters. Why a program, or what's the strength of a program like Child Friendly City? First of all, it's realizing a political ambition. It's a choice, it's a policy choice to do that. Now in 2024, we got again elections, and now we're waiting a little bit if it's still a top priority. We try to manage, we try to convince them, and we also think that it will be a priority again for the next 6 years. We will see. Broad policy requires also organization-wide approach. That's what we say, the transversal perspective. What also is important is a coalition of local partners that's not just the city government, but also everyone who works with children and youngsters, schools, but youth work, even though parents actually, or also some local partners actually in providing all things needed for children and youngsters. Also, an important idea of being in a program is joining forces. What gives you a greater strength and more impact, and also very important is that everybody is connected. You have like a shared ownership when you work together on that label, on that team. Also interesting is you have an eye for opportunities by working together with a lot of different partners. Sometimes when you only look from your own organization, you see the things you are a regular see, but if you work together with partners, they give you new insights, and it creates opportunities to look at things differently, and also room for experimenting and innovation. So sometimes we talk to partners, they give us some signals that they want to work on, and then we create some opportunities, some experiments, some pilots, where we can learn together, and we try to make things work better. It's actually also a local and a global network. because all the things we learn at local level, we also try to generate impact on the higher government. We share our ideas, we share our pilots, and we try to get on the table when decisions are made in a higher government. Then I show you 5 of our main strategic goals, actually. First one is Kortrijk Speaks. Actually, it's a way of making full and active citizenship for all children and youngsters. In the picture, you see like a children parliament. Actually, in this project, we give 30,000 euros to one neighborhood, but we did a project like 1.5 years in spending it, because we first scanned the neighborhood with all these children. Then we got some ideas, we budget the ideas, and then we go in discussion with all these children, and they decided for themselves what are the priorities for our neighborhoods. And then they also got involved in the action plan itself and carrying it out. Another important key of strategic aim of goal is creating public space for children and youngsters. Also, we try to do it on sometimes in a very subtle way, but we give some, how do you say it, some little sparks. We try to get the children involved in the process of creating the plans. They can discuss it with us, and we also try to make it a very multiple use. So it's interesting for different kinds of users, children and youngsters, their parents, but also elder people. So we try to really use the public space to mix these crowds, to mix these kind of different groups. On the left side, you see another project where sometimes we need little children who grow up in the city need some help to reinvent the nature kind of thing, and that's a project that focus on looking at small green urban spaces, and they go on the path with their youth workers and play in green environments. Also, we have a safe and independent mobility for young citizens, very important, because it's a way of growing confident, learning a lot informal by being on their own. It's also about safety, but it's also about their own education development. That's why we find it very important that they can, from the age of 8, they it's not, of course, it's not always possible, but we try to create some mobility situations that are safe for youngsters. Also, discovering talents, not in a school, but in an informal way, looking at talents of young people. You see some pictures of activities we've done with all kind of age groups. The skaters, they are in a skate park that they are say, how do you say it? They manage. They are. Yeah, I don't know, but they are responsible that it works. There are no other grown-ups around. They just manage the room themselves. And also the well-being, the basic services, as Tieme already said, is a very important thing. I know this slide is very a lot of text, but I wanted to put it in because now I'm going into the building blocks that Tieme already mentioned. And here you have a list of all sorts of practices that we do. And it's it's actually the real it's the text that we used in 2022 to renew our label, because then we had to show the jury that we had some plans and ideas for the 6 building blocks. I'm gonna highlight 3 of the building blocks and some of these projects that are in there. So the first one is recognizing and giving space to diversity. One of the things we have is a long-term poverty reduction and social progress program. That's one of my colleagues, actually, is also a program director. And it already covers many projects and actions with impact on children, young people, and their families. So that's actually a plan next to the plan we already have about children and youngsters. We have our own welfare organization, ICO, and they reaching out to many children and youngsters who are growing up in a vulnerable contexts within leisure time, and they have a lot of sub-actions, sub-workings, sub-organizations, activities. Also, an important one is the bridge figures that we use in education and the flanking education policy. We also invest strongly in the cooperation with education from the knowledge that as good as all children go to school, and we have a lot of impact over there. An interesting one is also the education of the education ambassadors, often that are parents with a migration background, and they introduce other parents to the school system, study choices, and opportunities in their own mother language. Super Sim is also a program in the program, goes to kindergarten, and that one encourage parents to close personal contact to allow their children to go to kindergarten, because sometimes that's a problem. And a strong collaboration between city and primary schools, because we believe that learned early is old done. Maybe another one. I will jump to the young Kortrijk talent action plan is also its aim to increase decrease unqualified outflow in education. We have also Club Culture. Actually, it introduces cultural life to a young Kortrijk citizens, people who cannot easily find their way around. And the program includes newcomers between 12 and 18. An interesting project was also the integrally accessible concert hall project. They got a clear vision on LGBTQI plus friendly cultural policy, grew within the cultural landscape. They also have Quays. It's a group of young people who are actively working on more safe space in Kortrijk. I will go to the next slides. Also, one of the things the government's agreement in 2018 said, I will read it again, of the next 6 years, we want to make Kortrijk the city of their dreams. There they can take their first step in good nursery, they can get the best teachers, they can cycle safety to school, they can go to where they can breathe healthy air, they don't have to grow up in poverty. So that's also the social progress program that is citated here. We have a rich tradition already in leisure services for all kinds of age groups. So that's not so much of a problem, but we have some new. Also, we have a high quality after school offers. The last year, much preparation work was done in a new how do you say it? A new decree about these after-school activities. We really try to implement a child-orientated vision that pushes the further policy in the right direction. The focus is there on equal opportunities for every child and the freedom of choice of every child in that after school activities. We also see talent discovery as an important connecting factor. The interesting thing is that you can whisper talents in the ears of children at home, but also in leisure time, also in educational contexts. The recognition talents and relying on authentic role models is also reflecting in the local heroes principle that we use, in which passionate young adults from 16 plus age very often supervise workshops for younger age groups within various leisure disciplines, youth culture, but also sports. And then we have the House of the Child. We provide additional parenting support for families, and different and broad partnership works closely and works closely together. We also have strong ties with the Kortrijk schools. Then they have been strengthened many years. We have because we have a longer been convinced that education plays a very determining role in the lives of children and young people. And schools are also very important in terms of equal opportunities for young people growing up in vulnerable situations. So we work a lot together with schools, but you hear that in a lot of my examples. And so through cooperation with restorative-oriented partner Oranje Huisli Hand, it's a partner organization in Kortrijk. We support schools in developing a healthier school climate, among other things, learning better to deal with tensions and conflicts. But I think it's also a practice in other countries. The restorative, you have a whole restorative movement going on in Europe. Sharing space is also an important principle, and one of the additional dimensions are that we aim to, by sharing space, is the crossovers between leisure and education. So by sharing space, schools, teams, youth workers, and parents find each other more easily, in which turns to create interesting new dynamics. So they meet each other actually in these shared spaces. Maybe something about our playground policy. So playgrounds and by extension parks and squares are a key focus in this context. A collaboration between social policy and leisure produced a startup paper in 2021 to arrive at the supported policy vision for inclusive play areas, together with the direction of space in the municipality. And in 2022, we developed an action plan with workable guidelines and conditions for designing and managing public spaces. Also in the government agreement stated that Kortrijk is a super diverse city with 76,000 inhabitants, unique people, young, old, male, female, rich, poor, straight, LGBTQ, transgender, with and without disabilities, higher educated and less educated, and everything in between. All citizens have roots, 133 countries. We have different philosophical beliefs, different cultural traditions. But one thing we share, and that's that we're all part of the city. And that's what we try to do with this program also. And therefore, a language plays a crucial role in the child integration and development. We have like a project Tactiles, it's called. It's a broad partnership also, presenting a program with various languages, stimulating activities in holiday camps, but also where children have the free choice to participate. Representation is also an important one principle that we try to attend to and pay attention to in our communication projects, such as the city magazine we give every month to our inhabitants. We want to support young pubs and event organizations also to have an accessible and inclusive door policy. That's also things we try to facilitate. And the aim is there to put the well-being and safety of visitor in the first place. And one of the main things we always reconnect to is the ongoing dialogue, also one of the building blocks that Tieme already mentioned, where we children and youngsters and young people should help us to identify and channel conflicts of interest. So we always keep on dialoguing, keep on speaking terms, and that's how we try to live together in a very diverse city. So my last slide is one of the things maybe I want to share with you is how do we manage to and how do we run such a program. One of the important thing is that in Kortrijk there is chosen to have a program, that's me, for such a program, and it's my task to keep everything together. And I call it it's like a give and take strategy that we use. So one of the things I always do is put children and youngsters up front, and the full citizenship is key issue. We also let youngsters decide for themselves. What we do is facilitate platforms, but the ideas and how they are carried out, we try as most as possible to be youngsters to be owner of their own ideas and projects. As we already said, we keep it wide. There are actually no limits or restrictions. If young people say that they want to talk about housing, then it will be about housing. If they say we want to talk about mobility, then it will be mobility. So everything is an option. One of the ideas is also that by being involved, you create involvement. So we try to really keep close contacts with all our colleagues, and it's more like an attitude for all our colleagues to be really close to and really have a listening ear to them. So if we are involved, they also will be involved in our policy making, and they can create this initiative. One also interesting insight is that there's no inclusion without exclusion, and that actually means that for some groups, we pay special attention, and we give them more attention, we give them more time, we create more budgets to really enhance them. We also show that it makes a difference by doing. We do a lot of. It doesn't have to be always a big project. We also are content with small steps in projects, and we try to take them in picture. We also try to not blame other people if they don't have the attention for young people, because it's not always in their perspective. They sometimes they just are not aware that it's important. So we try mostly to connect, not by telling what people should do, but to ask the question, can we work together? So not direct, but influence and inspire, nudging in the right direction, give them subtle pushes, and it's never an obligation. And we let everyone to be a part. We level a lot with the field, create that ownership. We try really to create that community of we are child friendly and not Kortrijk is child friendly. The we factor is actually very important. So that's a little bit my story. for now. So I think, yeah, right on time. It's 2 o'clock.
Thank you very much. And it seems some people still are joining because the time was changed just recently. Maybe in some countries it wasn't changed, like in mine. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Tieme. Thank you very much, Hannes. Judith, our amazing partner from Europe Goes Local, is asking the following. What are your recommendations to the municipalities which are situated in countries where this type of label or national certification system does not exist? But the city itself would like to become more youth-friendly, child-friendly. So where can they start? What would be most important steps to do? So maybe this one question, you can make some notes, and I think there will be other questions coming in. But another question is from Guruita Laura. I hope I pronounce your name well, Laura. So how do you see the solution of organizing these job fairs for young people from disadvantaged backgrounds? Do you have an experience of doing it? What is the efficiency of it? So how do you support maybe employment and employability of young people at the municipal level? Let's take these two first, then we have still several more, and we can come back to them. In the meantime, to all the other participants, if you have more questions, you can either write them in the chat or later raise a hand and ask those questions yourselves. So one question about this municipal wish to be more child-friendly if there is no context at the national level.
Maybe I can take the first one, or
Super.
give a suggestion. It's an interesting question. I think there are several options. What comes first to my mind, the steps you can take. I think the steps in the toolkit I presented are you can use them in every country. I think if there's a certification or not. Investigating how child-friendly the city is at this moment, brought all these themes that or life domains that have impact on the life of children and youngsters, to investigate it, go and talk with them. I think that's maybe the most important step or lesson. You can't just have a child-friendly policy without um, having their perspective. And then, yeah, working to a strategy, actions, and so on. At some point, you have to make it, concrete. As Hannes gave a lot of examples how to do it in Kortrijk. And I think through this process and over the 3 steps, you're working on a sure foundation with the policymakers, with the civil servants, but also with civil society, with organizations in your city or community. And I think that's also a thing Hannes works on in Kortrijk, and I think that's also a very important principle of child-friendly cities. And I think you can't just do it on your own. You have to cooperate with them. So that these are some things that come to my mind when I get this question.
Yeah. For me, I would suggest to start actually with the second building block. It's the vision and the mandatory vision. Actually, you really need politicians who believe in the ID. So it asks a little bit of lobby. Also, you have to convince them with facts, of course. So to start with figures and numbers, but also with stories, I think is important. And once you got them convinced that there should be a strategy or a plan, I should suggest that you involve them as most as possible, that it all also can be their plan, because it's always about ownership, and especially about policy and policy making. If they can say, I created this together with the field, it's actually a really strong story, and I think it could work if you focus first on that, and then you work together with the local politicians on the strategy. So I think it's a vision, and it's not always very easy, but make it easy for them. And as professional, you have a lot of experience, a lot of insights, but make it as simple as possible for people who are not a youth worker, but really care about people and youngsters.
Mhm.
Maybe one last tip or thing I was thinking about, just contact the UNICEF. They are supporting child friendliness in a lot of countries, and maybe also in your country. And I think they might want to be able to help. I don't know.
About these job fairs, Hannes, do you have any experience in Kortrijk to organize something like this for young people? Is it really beneficial for young people with disadvantaged backgrounds? And generally, what are some of the municipal projects directed to youth employability that you find inclusive to different young people?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, over there I it's one of my, and Tieme knows, it's one of my main principles is work together with schools, because a lot of children and youngsters are already at school. I hope so, 90 or 95% in Flanders, and yeah, if you can organize these job fairs with a lot of course, professionals, but to visit it, I would suggest that you visit it in school time, and then you have everybody with you, and I think it's also, you can also sell it to schools that it's their, actually it's an obligation, or it's something that they really have to focus on. Another project we have in Kortrijk is one. It starts already at the age of let me think, 10. Yes, at the age of 10, we have like some kind. It's between. It's a weekend school actually, but it's also a big. It's fun. It's youth work. So, and uh, it's an engagement of 3 years. So from the age of, I think, 10 to 13, they go every Saturday to these activities, but the activities are always for speakers, for professionals who tell passionate about their own job. It could be lawyers, it could be uh, a baker, somebody who's working in a restaurant, everybody. So also kind of jobs, but they really tell from their passion, and it gives youngsters who have lesser opportunities a wide range of possible jobs that they can do, and it works very inspiring. Architects, advocacy, you name it, and they have like a big list, a big network of organizations, partners, who they work together with, and they all come tell a story to the youngsters themselves. And actually, it's quite a success. You would think an extra day of school, but it doesn't feel like that. It's really a lot of children are very enthusiastic about this project.
So I will maybe paraphrase slightly the comment from Badahir into a question that I am personally interested as well. So Badahir is saying that the challenge in their local authorities, very much like in mine, is their municipality or the government officers. They try to own the projects that are coming from youth sector. So Otherwise, if they are not in the front line and cutting the ribbons, they are not very cooperative, and they are creating problems or cutting funding. So you are on the other side of barricades as opposed to us that are coming from civil society. How do you cooperate with local youth organizations? How do you make sure that they also have space to organize youth activities, events at municipal level in cooperation with the city?
The thing is, yeah, you have to be a little bit lucky also. Everything is depending on a personality of an alderman or a deputy mayor of youth. But it's also a little bit of lobbying, also a little bit of strategy. And my feeling is, if you enhance them, if it's also sometimes hard to be if you're not part of the project, I would enhance them from the start by creating the idea and actually make them believe that the idea of the youngsters is also their own idea. So they really have to be open for it. And yeah, I see challenges our local authorities that they try to take the ownership of the project and want to be the leader, but yeah, you just have to say that is not their task as a youth worker. You have to try to convince them that it's another way around, but that they can score, that they can do good things in other ways, that they have another role to play in these kind of projects. So I don't know. It's if it's correct. It's the way we work around it, but I can imagine that it's not working on in every local context.
Mm-hmm.
I can maybe give some more ideas. Yeah, one of the building blocks is about cooperating, and it's very important. But the building block is taking your direction role and cooperating. And yeah, in Dutch, we have this saying, or you can't be a director and an actor at the same time. It's difficult. So I think this question is about that, and it's about the local government who has a good vision on how they cooperate, how they are not going into how do you say it, concurrency. They are not taking things over. And there is an ancient story about the King Midas. I don't know if it's known in other countries, but everything King Midas touches changes into gold. And actually, that looks nice at first sight, but afterwards you can't do anything with all the stuff that went gold. And that's the story we tell to local government, because of if something works, just support it, but don't touch it, don't take it over, because then maybe it won't work anymore. So yeah, these are some thoughts about it, but it's difficult. I can imagine that people who are working for civil organizations, and there is a difficult communication or cooperation. It's not so easy to step it up or step to get over it.
My question is fully in line with you did questions here in chat. What are the clear benefits for the city of having this label? I was also like thinking like, you know, why the city really would like to have this label, because if I remember well, 48 out of 290 something cities have the label. What that brings to the image of the city, you know, and is it also like that young people are proud of their city for having that label? You know, is it like well known also the label? I mean, is it also widely communicated? And I think you did also ask something about how do you evaluate the benefits? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe Timo, I start from Kortrijk and then you give some other perspective because from in our city, one of the things you really have to take into account is that's a long-term strategy. We do it now for 12 years, and you must know that the first 4 or 5 years it's not it's not that visible also, and it should be visible by youngsters who feel that they are getting proud to the city, are all kind of citizens are proud to the city. If now actually in Kortrijk, if you ask like 10, 15 years ago, are you proud on Kortrijk? And we had a lot of young families who are leaving the city to Ghent, to Antwerp, to Brussels, the bigger cities. But now you see something else. You see it's really good living in Kortrijk because it's still it's not too expensive, and it's child friendly. You have a lot of public space that's child friendly. You have a lot of services, so it's actually a real strategy, and it's about uh, the feeling people got, the proud they feel. But yeah, you have to take years and years to work on that, and the feeling must be right. What we don't do is we don't use it as a city marketing tool. So we don't use that label very much in we are child friendly or something. No, it's really from upwards to in via with the projects and with all these activities and actions we do. We try to create a feeling. And not put it into a city kind of city marketing strategy. It's not for visitors, it's mostly for our own habitats, actually. But they also, visitors feel also that it's nice to be in Kortrijk now, and it's another city than 15 years ago.
I go from time to time. I go to cities and municipalities who are not uh, who, who are not having the certification at this moment, who are interested in getting it. And one of the most asked questions is, "What do we get a grant for it or something like that?" And the answer is no. You don't get a grant for it, but
Actually, it
the
costs you money.
yeah, money and time.
Yeah.
Um, and that's what we tell them at this point, but it delivers better policy, a better place for children and youngsters on the long term, as Hannes says. um, but that may be a weakness and a strength at the same time of this label. I don't know, it's the motivation of people stepping in is really about a better policy. It's not about money, extra money. It's not about uh, more visitors or something like that. Maybe that's a nice side effect, but not the main focus. And because of there is this jury who looks at the quality of your process. If your focus is too much on other things, you will not. I think you will not get certification. But it's yeah, I don't know. I think sometimes there are different motivations of stepping in for like civil servants and politicians. Politicians want to yeah, want to have some realization. So for them, this label certification is maybe important to show that their policy is good or works or has some focus. For civil servants, it's maybe not about this label as such, but the way of working, the vision you work on, and so on. And the evaluation question was also a part of Judith's question in the chat. It's the question was, I think, are the benefits evaluation regularly from the city's perspective? So you have to do it every 3 years for the jury. You have to look at your process, your story every 3 years. But maybe Hannes can tell something about how it works for Kortrijk. Micro.
I was started to talk. I and also I answered to Judith about the brain drain thing. The evaluation. It's also we have like this strategic plan in every municipality. So every 6 years you have also a policy agreement, but also we have a strategic plan with actions, also where we have to report on. What we do in Kortrijk is some of the actions that already existed, but also are related to the program we connect to. But the program is not entirely into the strategic plan of the city, because a lot of actions or projects or ideas we want to create, we do that together with partners. And if we should say that we put the whole program into the strategic plan of the city, we have some discussion about the ownership. Sometimes we are not owner of some actions. The program is going broad. So everything the city is responsible for and is linked to the program, it's in the strategic plan. And there we have to report on. But we have also a lot of action together with partners that are in the program, but that are not in the strategic plan of the city. And that we also evaluate. But that's that's also the question. Actually, the label is a very good how do you say it, instrument, a good tool. From time to time now, actually this week on Friday, we have our 3 years how do you say it, call with the jury. So we have labor for 6 years, and in between, after 3 years, we have to go to the jury. It's really a discussion, or it's a talk with them in all openness. What are the difficulties you encounter? Where do you in these 3 years, where do you find problems? What do you where are you focusing at the moment? So it's really a quality-based approach. It's not just facts and numbers that they take into account. It's really also an important thing to say. We hear a lot that this label is for bigger cities, and that's not the case. It's really context, how do you say it, and tailor-made, and context. If you are a smaller city, sometimes it's far more easy to connect with other partners, to connect with other municipality staff members, because you are smaller, the lines are shorter. If we have to, in Kortrijk, if we have to get something of the ground, we sometimes need far more lobbying, far more work, far more convincing of different kind of people. So it has its own strength and weaknesses to be big or small. But every context is good, and the label works in every kind of context, actually.
So these are some extracts that I gathered from today's talk. And there was a lot of information and very practical aspects of how all of these certifications are organized, and the history of them. So I'm still processing myself, but it was like very nice to also take the main message of, okay, that things take time, and that it started back in 2014. So it has been, a bit more than 10 years now, and still developing, but that the prospect is good, is positive, that there is more and more sharing of practices, and that it's a growing trend. And I think that is the takeout for me for this talk, that it takes time. It's a very specific process, but then more and more people are interested. So there is like a common goal, let's say, for the well-being of children and youth in Flanders, in Belgium, and hopefully as well in different parts of Europe. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Olaja. You do not stop surprising us. How can somebody capture so much in such short time? Thank you very much. Back to our speakers, if you have some final messages to our audience today or to our audience online, we're actually in a very unique position. We have continued to broadcast our entire ID talk today, not just the input part of it. So if you have any final messages connected to the topic, we'll be very happy to hear a couple sentences from each of you, and then wrap up today's session and actually this whole season. So please.
Maybe I'll start. And I have some message actually for everyone, but especially for Judith from Europe Goes Local. I think now is the time. When we started with Europe Goes Local, like I'm also involved from the beginning. And as we started, it was mainly about youth work and the recognition of youth work. But now these broader policies are coming more and more in the picture. And I think that's also the future for Europe Goes Local, to focus more on that topic, on the partnerships. But I had the feeling that in Prague last week, it was already the case that more and more we are evaluating in that direction. So I think I'm very enthusiastic if that is the case, because youth work is very important. But if you look from the perspective of children and youngsters, there's far more than youth work alone to create a real child-friendly policy and to make them grow. So I would suggest, and I would be very enthusiastic if that would be the next few years we could work on this kind of strategies and topics, actually.
Tieme?
Yeah, I would like to thank everybody for coming over and the lot of questions and interest you showed, and maybe just an invitation if you want to hear and see more. Contact us and come over to Flanders, to Belgium, to Kortrijk, and we want to see your practice as well and learn from each other. Maybe that's a final how do you say it, invitation for everybody.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I will keep that in mind, because soon we are planning a study visit to Flanders. So maybe this is a good opportunity to take it
Always
from.
welcome.
Thank you very much. Today is not only another ID talk, but it's an end of spring 2025 season that we have been very lucky to cooperate with EGL. So here is both Maria and Judith to say maybe some concluding words. Let's go maybe first with Judith, because I know Maria has something more to say. So please.
Maria, can you please unmute Judith?
Thank you. Exactly. I needed this help because I couldn't unmute myself. Yes, thank you so much, Anna, for this invitation to speak. And also thank you, Hannes, for the message, your closing message to Europe Goes Local. And also the invitation to Tieme of coming to Flanders and also Kortrijk. I can say that Europe Goes Local visited Kortrijk in so many contexts with different groups, different European groups, and it was always very, very beneficial. But to say something about the series, this cooperation with Salto Inclusion and Diversity was so logical, because looking at the municipal context, and bringing in the inclusion aspect is a topic that we cannot stop talking about. So it's there is still a lot to explore, and so we try to show different aspects of municipal level youth policies, youth work, strategies for youth. We try to showcase different sizes of settlements or municipalities. We had capital cities, we had even villages, medium-sized cities. We wanted to also show an example from the neighboring regions of the European Union. And I've also found it important that today we showed a complex system, because the previous ones were really specifically focusing on one city. Today we got a complex system, also with a great example of Portrait, which implements this complex system at an excellent level. So I think we achieved the aim of showing a small part of municipal level youth work, and hopefully we created more interest in exploring this topic further. And yeah, also hopefully we encouraged our participants and speakers for more dialogue. It was also today with the questions, with the messages, and also in the previous editions. So keep exchanging and having a dialogue. It's really, really crucial, because most especially in municipal level youth work, there is no one solution that fits all. It's very important to have a dialogue with the stakeholders, to analyze the needs, assess the needs, and yeah, engage the young people in that actual municipality where you operate, and find the ways. So I'm glad that we did this, and hopefully in the future we can think about something even more. And just in relation to this topic of today, in Europe Goes Local, there is a plan to do a research on certification systems in Europe in the coming years. We would like to do a bit more on knowledge building in EGL, and this is one of the topics that we would like to explore further, and then build activities around this topic. So thank you from my side.
Thank you, Judith. Yeah, and I think you said it all. I mean, for me, it's just left to say thank you for the cooperation. I'm really happy, Judith, that you know, help us to, yeah, look what is happening also behind the scenes, you know, like how the municipality youth work is actually structured, and what are the challenges, and also what are the benefits of youth work on a local level. So thank you for taking us on this journey. I remember when we had the first talk, and when I said we can have 5 practices to look into, that you were like, only 5? There is so much we can offer, and that's true. So I really hope in the future, maybe we can, you know, like look into some more examples of a great work that EGL is doing. And I really hope that those talks, as you said, also motivated all of us to make the places where we live in and work with young people and make them better. And that this will hopefully also contribute to the quality of the youth work on a local level as well. I want to thank all the guest speakers we had in last 2 months, and special thanks to Hannes and Tieme today, and also to all of you who have been with us for last 2 months, and a big thank you to amazing team I'm blessed to work with. We are closing today the spring season of the idtalks, but this is just to have a break to prepare for the autumn. In autumn, actually on 3rd of September, we are coming back for 2 months, and we will talk about social justice, what the social justice means today. Look into the world we are living in today and dream of a different world or different worlds. What kind of realities we would like to build, what makes us human, what means being human. What are the ideals that we are want to really work for and go for, and how all that impacts youth work and young people, and what is the role of the youth work in creating different social justice models also of the youth work, but also just society we live in. So that's just a bit of what we will be preparing for you in coming months, and looking forward to see you all after the summer break. Thank you.
So bye-bye to our audience on Facebook and our audience here, and see you after the summer.